The worst horror movie I ever saw was fucking great.
Hello and welcome to This May Hurt a Bit. My name is James Strayer and this is
John C. Myers.
And we're a horror franchise podcast discussing each film in horror franchises. And today we will be discussing Return to Silent Hill from 2026. Or from 2 nights ago at the
when it was shot and directed and edited and
in
watched
Portland,
the same
Oregon.
day.
Yes. Yeah, we went out to see this, as was the plan the entire time. When I approached the theater, John mentioned it's not even on the marquee. And then on the inside, there wasn't even a poster for it anywhere. I'm not going to say that that's a judgment on how confident they were in this movie, but if the theater itself can't even bring itself to advertise, there were about 6 other people in the theater with us.
Yes, but my favorite part was not only that it wasn't on the marquee, but it's because it's one of those chain theaters. Yeah, you sort of just check in through a screen.
Oh, yes.
They didn't even bother to put the poster up.
That's right, too.
It's just a blank screen. They just said, do you want to see any of these movies with the poster or do you want to go see some Return to Silent Hill?
Yeah, so we went to see Return to Silent Hill. I do want to briefly shout out our Patreon subscribers because you made that possible.
That's right.
for us to, and as a avid attender of the Hollywood Theater here in Portland, Oregon, sometimes I'm surprised at how expensive and crappy the main like Cineplex experience is.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I mean not to automatically just get into an old man rant here, but
sure.
No, it's ridiculous for how expensive everything is and how much ads you have to sit through and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Support local repertory theaters where you don't have to do that as much.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we checked it out and we were talking before we started recording that, man, this movie's getting so much hate online. And both of us, when we walked out of it, we were like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. You know,
it's the best of the series. I think hands down.
With it. Yeah. Some problems for sure. But I think my expectations were so low. And then after having seen it, you know, I checked out a few pieces of writing on it and like very quickly gandered at some YouTube reviewers and stuff like that, just out of curiosity, what all the horror people are saying. And I think this is a great case of people enjoying being super hyperbolic and angry about something that I just don't think rises to that amount.
Yeah, I can't fully appreciate this outside of it being a Silent Hill adaptation because there was so much stuff that I sort of recognized and was able to follow along with that maybe if you don't know is not there. But I also think the movie does a good enough job of being its own thing. Like it doesn't. I think it gives you enough to fill in those gaps. Mm-hmm. It doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, well, this is where I picked up an ampule or a med kit or something. You know? And it was to me like a faithful in spirit. It's this dreamlike journey, this hallucinatory journey that's so much less anchored in plot as the first couple, which is to its credit.
Yes.
And I think that can be a tough pull for people because as you mentioned, a lot of it's just this guy wandering around. Mm-hmm. Something we talked about in the first one too, that's a majority of these games. But I think this is done in a way that works much more efficiently than just watching, Rod and Mitchell run breathlessly between locations to get more exposition.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the fact that there wasn't, 15 minutes worth of backstory dumps on us, like once every 20 minutes or so, that makes this movie stand out to me. The last half hour of this, I mean, we'll get to it, but I think that they made some choices that I'm not sure I run with, having just finished up the game. I did finish up the game like 2 nights before we went to see this, and that was fun. Woo. Yeah. But yeah, so I guess we will be spoiling not only the movie, but potentially the game, if you haven't played that.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, I mean, I know that, this is still out and a lot of the movies that we've done are a bit older, so I don't feel as bad spoiling them, but we'll try to be somewhat light on it, but chances are we'll get into some spoilers because, I do want to talk about the game a little bit and what this movie does differently, but in some ways, I don't want to say better, but how this movie approaches the same material differently.
Yeah, without going through it bit by bit. I mean, I do think that the opening bit is funny, not just that it takes place during the daylight, but one thing that struck me with the opening 15 minutes or so was it was so brightly lit. To the point where even on the faces, like everybody looked a little bit like they had CGI, like facelifts or something. And it was taking me out of the first 15 minutes or so. And it does like keep going through the rest of the movie at times. But I was like, is this a stylistic choice to make this look like a video game? Because all these people have like remarkably smooth skin here.
I remember that about one of the last Resident Evil movies I saw, where it's like Mila Jovovich's face was digitally sandblasted.
Yeah.
Like it was just so obvious. And I know like that her character in that is not really human or something, but it still was just so distracting. But yeah, that first part is particularly like Hallmark looking.
Yeah.
It started off on the wrong foot for me with that scene, just because the dialogue's and the vets are real bad. And the dialogue is very weird and stilted throughout it, but that's also true of the game.
Yeah, sure.
And I think it works both as just sort of a callback to that and just for what's going on and that kind of feeling of just an easy feeling of just, it's just not right. It's just off.
Yeah.
That opening bit at the beginning where it's our hero or our protagonist, James Sunderland, driving his sweet Jaguar. No, I'm sorry. It's a
Mustang.
Yeah. It's driving his sweet Mustang down the highway and narrowly avoids hitting a logging truck, then slams into some suitcases at a bus station that are just sitting out in the street for some reason. And those belong to Mary, who was trying to leave to catch the bus. Oh, her clothes are everywhere. Boy, he's feeling like a jerk. Trying to clean up, get all her stuff in the bus, but the bus stops, but she's like, oh, this is going to take too long.
That frustrated me so much.
I was like, that is what is happening there.
Yeah.
Like that does not make any sense. Right. And particularly like when you find out why she's leaving town, it's like, what?
Yeah. Good grief.
But so that kind of took me a second to kind of get past that about like, this is really what we're doing here. But yeah, it is. Sorry. It is.
Also, does this qualify as don't put a better truck in your worst movie? Because as soon as I see a logging truck, we all know what that makes us think of. So, But she ends up taking him down to and introducing him to the town of Silent Hill. Now, this is their first meet cute. The movie posits that they are not married, which is a big thing in the game. And I don't want to say that, a marriage is more valid than just a girlfriend, but like maybe it's the length of time. Like, so they're together for like a couple of months or something. Again, not saying you can't grieve someone, but like I in the game, I get this sense that they've, had this long romance and everything. And that, he's lost the love of his life instead of like a girl he's just started checking up with.
Right. But I mean, they are living together now, and he did sort of upend his life to come live there with her.
Okay.
It isn't clear how long they've been together, but it seems like at least a little bit. And it also changes the nature of his grief / guilt, which we can get into. But yeah, I thought that was going to be like, oh, and then later they were married. No, they were not. No.
It's a whole lot of meet cute flashbacks for the next 45 minutes or so of them laying in a glen. Do you call that a glen? A hill.
I
with
wouldn't necessarily be right, but I'd call it a glen because I don't know.
A hill with flowers on it, a pasture. I don't know. Also, he's a painter now, so he's a moody artist now, which just made me laugh a couple times later on when he's like knocking back whiskey and getting mad at his painting. I mean, we've all been there, obviously, but
that felt very much like a Clive Barker kind of thing.
Yes,
but Mary, by the way, played by Hannah Emily Anderson, who has been on the show previously because she was in Jigsaw as Eleanor Bonneville, the super crazy tattooed red herring.
Right.
I was looking at stills of that movie because it was bothering me tremendously without this movie. I'm like, I know who that is. What else have I seen that person in? And then I finally figure it out. And I'm looking through stills of Jigsaw. I'm like, man, I don't remember this movie.
Not
much
at all. I could barely tell you what that one was about at this point.
Jigsaw.
Oh, good.
You get flashbacks as James goes further into town because it's revealed after this meet cute, like it just flashes her face underwater, like dead body face underwater. And James wakes up and he's in a bar, drunk, and a waiter or a server asks him to leave. And then the second thing that made me go, oh no, which was this fight and scuffle is all done through his cell phone for some reason. Like he's holding it and the camera's there.
Yeah.
And it's very jarring and strange. And I think it's supposed to, show you his own mental state. But, I don't know.
Yeah, through his cell phone, was he trying to do the thing of like, filming the aggressors so that he doesn't so that he gets it on record or something like that?
I don't know. Like, what's up, TikTok? Here's a prank where I get drunk and fight people.
Right. Oh man, if you call James a content creator, I'm going to hate this movie even more.
Yeah, no, he was not.
Well, he is a content creator in the sense that he's a painter, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all
he's a content
now.
creator in the same way that Picasso and Da Vinci were content creators.
Exactly.
And his work is equally as good, by the way.
Oh yeah,
as both of them.
He ends up uprooting his life and moving to Silent Hill, and she at one point kind of cautions him, says like, I don't know if you want to do that. Like, I've got a dark past. Every other guy that moves to Silent Hill with me runs away, and this movie does too many flashbacks and flash forwards and stuff like that, so it's a little bit hard to kind of go like narratively with it, but he finally gets a little weirded out in this like flashback era when there's about 10 or 15 weirdos at his house, kind of like Rosemary's Baby style, when he comes home one afternoon. And I don't think that they're doing anything aggressive to her necessarily, but their presence is weird.
Yeah, because he's met them already at some sort of hotel
like
party thing. Yeah. Even though she says like there's no clubs and it's like a very fancy hotel club thing, as he's in the hotel. And it's these weird people that all know her and that all seem to have a tie to, I don't remember if they specifically mentioned her father.
It's her father. Yeah.
Later. Yeah. He comes home and she is like, they're like almost in a circle around her.
Yes.
And she's kneeling there on the ground. Everyone else is in chairs, like lording over her. And so that's weird.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to come home to.
That was effective. But it just really made me laugh when she tries to put something away in this like little cabinet of curiosities type of thing. But the doors have this giant occult symbol on the front of it.
Yeah.
It says it's like right there in the middle of your main living room wall. And somehow, like, I guess this is the first time James is seeing this.
I just never moved those coats.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it was behind there.
Yeah, it's just like, if my partner came home and saw me putting that kind of thing away, I think she'd have a few issues with, just moving in with me.
So there's a cult aspect in this that they don't go as far deep into as in the other ones. Fortunately, I think. They keep it at a surface level that makes it way more terrifying rather than trying to over-explain everything.
Yeah.
And then but it also, because it's removed from the other two movies, it's not like, oh, and there was a third cult, by the way.
Yeah.
there was another one
right.
in this small town. But also just like that, it's inside are a bunch of creepy tchotchkes and stuff that if you're worshiping a deity that involves these kind of things, you'd go, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I one of the baddies? Like this doesn't seem good, but But yeah, James is all creeped out about it because she won't let him in. She won't tell him much about what's going on there. They're just friends, and it's all cool that like 20 people just popped by.
Yeah. As mentioned in a previous episode, I don't think these 20 people have pop-by privileges, or maybe they do, and that's what's creeping James out.
There could be that, or there could be like a significant, they're like, look, there's a significant portion, not a majority, but a plurality. And I think that's fine. Yeah. I think if 20 people show up, I think if 8 or 9 have popover privileges, this is probably okay.
Right. Because you can bring a +1 popover +1.
Right. So really it's just one guy that's the jerk.
Right. He's next on the sacrificial chopping block for not following that sacred rule. And then James ends up witnessing her being a part of an occult ritual way underground somewhere. And this was okay. It seemed like they were like force feeding her blood or something like that.
Yeah.
The only reason that that's of note is because it kind of ham-fistedly comes into context later on in the movie.
These are all revelations, a Silent Hill revelation, if you will, that James has, remembering his trip through Silent Hill. And the reason he's there is after his drunken brawl, he comes home and he finds a letter from Mary that's basically just like, hey, I'm in Silent Hill. Come to our special place. And you're like, well, that's crazy. You're dead. So I will go there. And so he drunkenly drives there, parks his car in the same place that they had their meet cute, and sleeps in his car the next day, like goes down there. It does the whole thing that they've done in the last two as well, where panning shot around him of turning into the other world, the dark world.
Because Christoph loves to move that camera.
Yeah.
Boy,
he does.
Even in this movie.
But this one does, I think, a better job of that flashing back and forth rather than it's always this gradual change of like, okay, well, now it's good again.
Sure.
Versus like now it's bad. Now it's good, which is a lot more, I think, true to the game, but also similar to one of its influences Jacob's Ladder.
Yes.
It's like that too. This in and out of this evil place that you're not sure what's going on.
Sure.
Back into reality. And he also encounters one of the same lying figures, I think they're called, from the first one. They're also the first one, which originated in the second game.
Yep.
And shows up and tries to spit, opens up some sort of vaginal cavity in its chest and spits acid at him.
Sure.
Already it's bad. And there's it kills a hobo that gave me a jump scare.
Yeah,
I totally jumped in the theater. They got me.
Yep.
And then after that, he's just going through town trying to find Mary and finding different clues to lead him to Mary.
Right.
Which is, again, exactly what the game is.
Yeah. So the look of the movie, aside from it being kind of overly CGI'd at times, especially the fire. Like, gosh, guys, a lot of CGI fire. I think the first movie probably looks a little bit better with like more practical props and stuff like that. But I still like the look of this movie. It's not too bad.
Yeah, the set design again is fantastic. I really liked it. Yeah, the general look is great. No qualms there.
Yeah. And if you're familiar with the game, this is one of those things that like you can make, I might make fun of this in a different movie that's not based on a game. But since I just played the game and I enjoy it, I'm like, oh, he's literally going through the levels. There's the apartment,
There's the hospital.
There's the hospital, of course. Then there's the...
he doesn't go to the historical center.
He does not.
Or the jail.
I was really wanting to see the prison because the prison in the game gave me absolute chills for night after night. The hedge maze, which is a very short part late in the game. And of course, the hotel. And all that stuff looked great. I was excited to see all those kind of things. I had the point at the screen moment. I was like, the hospital, and when the hospital is a big part of the game. And so, when you get that like cool, ominous wide shot of him approaching the hospital, I did get excited. It worked. And
I think, like I said, I think the set design works. A lot of the creature design is worked. I like the reworked pyramid head. For the most part.
Yeah.
They've gone a little bit of a different direction with him, which makes sense for what he is in this movie and what he's always sort of supposed to have been. And then the score, they actually got Akira Yamaoka to do the music for it. So it's, a lot of the themes from the game, but also different versions of those themes and other tunes.
Right.
That I thought were great. But yeah, it really does a good job of capturing the atmosphere. Out of place feeling of James.
Yeah.
Who himself, the actor Jeremy Irvine. I've heard some people like dog on his accent in the movie. Never really bothered me.
No.
I don't like how they styled him like one of the Supernatural brothers drawn from memory.
Oh, funny.
But whatever.
I thought he a couple times he had a pretty goofy looking wig on. And when he was wearing the wig, he made me just think of Bill Paxton in a wig, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, he's fine. He's serviceable. He walks around and yells Mary over and over, and he looks really troubled. And aside from the fact that I'm not sure I ever felt a true sense of dread from the movie, he still portrays his own like fear pretty well, I guess you could say, especially like I feel like there's a turning point when he finds the fuzzy TV, which is a recurring motif in the game, too. And like he flips out there, and like from then on out, it's just kind of like a downward spiral for the poor guy. So he does pretty well at that. He doesn't do a whole lot of shooting and actioning like is in the game, even though that's not super focus of the game. But you do that, which provides you stress and anxiety. At least it does me.
Right.
So you don't get those moments. At all.
I mean, even when he does, it's awkward, and it's not like all of a sudden he's like, well, now I know Kung Fu because it's convenient. Totally. It's just like, I don't know, what's this, a pipe? I'll just throw it at him. Hopefully that works.
Yeah.
Like a real obvious comparison, and we've already talked about this a little bit, is those middle Hellraiser movies. Where it ends at where it's this sort of inner personal journey through a character's psyche. But I think this is done so much more artistically than what those two were trying to do. Certain elements that occur feel less like plot twists that are just there to sort of make you go, oh, weren't expecting that, huh? Yeah. And like in the service, specifically the story, and more, it's just like the character and his growth and realization about things. That so when it's coming, like there's certain elements that you're like, well, you could probably see that coming, but I don't think it's about you, the audience, finding that out. It's about him finding that out.
Sure.
And I think those other movies do that opposite. I think they're more interested in you going, oh, wow, you did that? Versus him being like, oh, shit, I guess I did do that.
I'm the asshole here. Along the way, he does run into a few characters from the game. We've got our Eddie. We've got Laura. We've got Maria. Is there another one? Angela. Okay. So, I mean, Eddie's there for about 5 minutes and he's fine, I guess. I'm not even sure what he's supposed to represent in the game.
In the game, I think he's a little bit more of just, he's like another version of James. In the game, he's this like same kind of schlubby guy, always blaming everyone else for his shortcomings.
Yeah, there you go.
Resorting to violence and pretending to be the victim. Like an ICE agent or something. But I think he's just supposed to be like a shitty male archetype that falls through. In this movie, it's a little less useful.
Yeah.
I think he serves that role a little bit, but it seems much more just like he's just a guy, which in the game as well, you get a sense from the different characters that James meets that they're not all experiencing the same thing.
Right.
Because particularly Laura in this, who's actually the actress that plays her, Evie Templeton, was the motion mocap and voice for the game Laura, the remake game Laura. Like, she's a lot more involved with the goings on, whereas in the game, it seems like she has no idea what's happening at all.
Right. Yeah.
That there's just like weirdo adults around being jerks. She's not seeing the giant monsters or anything.
Yeah.
And same thing that Angela's versions of monsters are a lot different. Whereas in this, Angela, Maria, and Mary are all played by the same actress, are all played by Hannah Emily Anderson, which is really cool until they mention it. Then I liked it a little bit less. When they kind of made the subtext text, it was a little bit like, okay, I get it.
Sure.
Specifically in the fact that you learned that all of the characters are named after Mary. Yeah. Mary's name is Mary Angela Maria
Crane. Yeah.
I was about like, okay,
thanks, guys.
But like that's hanging quite a lantern on that. But I did like that concept of him running into these different aspects of his wife or girlfriend and this sort of, or his like projections of her and not really putting that together.
Sure.
I mean, with Maria, it is more like 1-to-1 because she looks exactly like his wife and she's like much more sexually forward, coded as kind of more of a stripper, exotic dancer kind of thing. That again in the game sort of reflects James' overall view of women, whereas it's more just another aspect of Mary, I guess, that he doesn't fully understand.
The way they styled Laura, the little girl, I didn't like it as much as I liked it in the game, because in the game, she looks like a normal little girl and she's got this like bright colored like dress or jumper on or something like that. And she's running around a creepy, dark environment. So that to me is a little bit jarring just in the context of it. In the movie, she's got Tim Burton makeup on, right. She's got the sunken eyes, the pale face, the gray jumper, and like a creepy little living dead doll type of thing. I like that little creature just fine.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's kind of like making a scary clown's makeup be evil instead of just having like a regular normal kid there, which is creepy enough, I think.
Right. And I think it's also, as we mentioned, it's a bit that since everyone is apparently seeing their own things, it makes it all the more jarring in the game because you're like, wait, what's going on?
Sure.
Because there are monsters trying to kill me. Why is this little girl being left alone? In the movie, I can understand sort of reframing that a little bit because the movie is always framed as James's personal journey. Yeah. I feel like it does that. It's pretty upfront about that because we're going through his memories, these specific flashbacks, that is just his experience going through this. So I can understand not wanting to confuse that issue too much because you're already in a movie that is, I don't want to say largely dialogue free, but a good portion of it is no talking, is not people not explaining things to you. And so I think simplifying that makes some sense. Yeah, and I still think it's effective too, because it all ties together with, as we've learned, as you mentioned, with the cult thing, which we can get into a little bit more. But Mary has had just this whole lifetime of trauma, and this sort of combining those different aspects of her personality sort of reflect that, having that sort of tie into the overall thematic thing of child abuse that's been throughout the theme of child abuse that's been throughout this movie. Yeah, I think works. And there are some just striking images in that regard. Particularly like with all the sheets
Yeah.
Those were different than what's in the game, but I thought they were extremely effective.
Yeah. Like I liked the weird 4-armed moth creature that we see at one point. There's one shot in particular that I think is really effective with the 4 arms coming out of the top of the frame, going down to grab his face.
Yeah.
That stuff looked great.
So I don't know what Eddie's thing is exactly, because he's the first one to recognize like, oh, pyramid head's coming.
Yeah.
Like this is the big baddie of this world. But then you never see him again. I don't think anything happens to him. I think he goes away.
Exit stage right.
Which I'm not upset about seeing that that's fine.
Don't
I guess
need him around.
we have to see him. Yeah.
So as far as the creatures from the game and the creature design in this, like you said, we got the lying figure. We had a very CGI'd mannequin spider, which I didn't like as much. It looked a little bit too similar to the one from the previous movie.
Yeah, particularly with grabbing the head. Although I like how it reattaches the head and then the head screams.
I did like that, yeah.
And it's also just for, again, this very running vaginal theme throughout so much of the imagery and the monsters.
Yeah.
That it kind of went away from that.
Yeah.
I think even in the case of, Abstract Daddy, which is what he's called in the game, they changed that in a way that again sort of makes the subtext text, but I also think kind of works.
That is a frightening moment in the game. And made me feel so icky, and it was great. I mean, and it's some sort of thing that's attached to a steel bed frame.
In the game, all I don't know all, but a lot of the creatures were designed by Masahiro Ito, who back when Twitter wasn't the worst place in the world, he would be on there occasionally like fielding questions from people, but you could tell that like Pyramid Head was one of his greatest achievements and worst nightmares, because he's just like, people, I hate this so much sometimes, because people just make up stuff about it and that's all I'm known for. But he also created some of these other characters that, there's routinely throughout the game, a lot of the creature designs are, as I said, either sort of have this very sort of feminine bent to them. Again, like there's, mannequins that don't have any heads. It's like whose arms or legs. A lot of the bosses are in frames of some kind. Yeah. Like sort of representing almost a bed, which ties into what happens with Mary, but also in this case, again, makes explicitly the sexual abuse. Right. That's heavily implied in this movie, but that creature design is pretty much what's going on there, because I think she's like the dad, Joseph Crane, is specifically tied to that, because it seems like he was the one in charge of the cult. He's since died. Right. And the cult's carrying on his legacy, but he was the one that like ushered her into that. And then she's also being abused by the cult, as you mentioned, when James finds her drinking. She drinks some sort of liquid that causes like blood to pour out of her. And then all the cultists rush her and like
smear her up
and like pulling stuff off her and like licking it. So like eating the blood. And so like, I couldn't tell if this was something like this drug made her, she was this chosen one that was exuded some kind of like maple syrup from her head or something like that, or some kind of like
Canadian cult.
Yeah. Or it's like some kind of combo of like Walking Away from the O'Malas and Subway Jared, where it's like she's just produces this au jus sauce and everyone's like, this is so good. Yeah. We're the French dip capital of Colorado. So she's been like being abused by these people because it's also poison. Yeah. She has been slowly poisoning herself over time, as we find. And that all that stems from the dad. And so the creature design there really driving that home was as close to being like, do you get it? Right. As you could be without being that. Yeah, of course. It's still horrific enough that you can't really take in all the imagery at once. Yeah. It's a little bit like, I was reminded a little bit of Belial too. Oh, sure. The little head guy.
Absolutely. Yeah. The two-legged things below the grates were not in there. I hated those in the game.
They were a pain in the ass. Yeah. Neither was Flesh Lip, the one that like hangs from the ceiling and swings.
Oh, yeah. I liked him. You get a little bit of the final boss of the game in this, but in kind of a different aspect, once again with like a bed frame around her. This time she kind of turns like, does it happen twice? I'm trying to remember, like halfway through and then at the very end.
Well, he sees her when she gets locked. Laura locks him into a room. Yeah. And it's Mary's in there. Because that's in the game, that's where you fight a different boss, but she's there. That's with the four hands come in and reach down, and then at the end when he kind of comes to terms with everything, right? And I think that moment also I like, because it is about 2/3 of the way through the movie, but Mary comes down and her hands come down, reach him, and then he wakes up.
Pass out, wake up.
He's in a hospital in Silent Hill.
Yeah.
And that he's been, who knows where he's been, but they found him.
Sure.
And his psychiatrist, who he's talked to a few times, there was always, and I liked it at first, but I also kind of got annoyed with it.
Oh, right. The psychiatrist.
I'm going to go with, I like it.
Yeah.
But it did challenge me a bit. Where it's always this shot from underneath her glass table, so her face is always splintered.
Yeah.
Which was cool at first, but then it just got a little bit old that like she's calling him a lot, like, oh, I'm just checking in.
Yeah. She never gets up from that desk at all.
Yeah. Well, she does eventually. When she finally at the hospital, I think I was like, okay, fine. No, this is a real person. This is fine. Because it doesn't dangle that at that point. It doesn't go like, or is it? It specifically says he's been on a spiritual journey that's just been him.
Yes.
This has all been real, but for him
only. And I mean, gosh, it's kind of hard to get into close to the end of the movie without getting into that kind of spoiler territory, although we
already have been. So.
Yeah, I guess that's true. The thing I'm kind of split on, because it's a movie you have to make choices. You know, you have to make choices for your narrative and what you're going to show and what you're going to leave abstract. There's never a point in the game where you see the scene in the movie of him suffocating Mary in bed.
Right.
It's another one of those like heavily implied things in the game. But here they just like straight up show you. In the game, it's revealed that as you play the game, it's revealed Mary's been sick for a long time. Mm-hmm. And when you get to their special place, which is a hotel room and the Silent Hill, this fancy hotel in Silent Hill, there's a video that basically shows the moment where James suffocates her. Yeah. There are different endings of the game you can get. Mm-hmm. One of which is like that your guilt overtakes you and you kill yourself. That's the one I got.
And there's another one where Mary's basically like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
I was in on this too, so hey, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
This one goes a little bit more in that direction. It kind of combines a few things, but it goes a little bit in that direction where he finds Mary at like, and it's no longer like a hotel. It's like the hotel's a sanitarium or something where she's at.
Yeah.
And she is dying and she's like, I've been poisoned. And his guilt is because we really skip this, but his guilt stems from that he left after he saw her being attacked by the cult. Mm-hmm. He's like, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'm leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then kind of realizing, man, I screwed up. And I also just like left this person there to continue to suffer. And that's when he's wearing the really bad beard, which was unfortunate.
Right.
Yeah. I saw an interesting defense of it. I'm not going to get into it here, but I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he comes back to her and she's like, I am dying because I've been being poisoned my whole life and there's nothing I can do. And I don't want to feel like this anymore. And he suffocates her in the hospital bed using a bloody rag that she is coughed up into.
Not your traditional pillow.
Yeah. And so it's something that's like, it was assisted suicide. It wasn't done out of any malice or like any feeling put upon by him.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more in the game. It's a little bit more like he just couldn't be bothered.
Got sick of it.
Yeah. Did he ever really love her in the first place? Mm-hmm. It's a harder thing to deal with. It's a little bit pricklier. And I think adding that cult element to it helps with that. Mm-hmm. Changes the nature of the guilt to not only just the abandonment of like, well, I left this person because like I just refused to listen to their point of view and just was caught up in my own bullshit. And then like, well, I helped them out of it by killing them. And is that good? Because now I don't have this person. Maybe I could have saved them.
Right.
And I didn't. I saved them this way that took them away from me.
Yep.
And I liked that change. I thought it still did what it needed to do. It went about it a different route. Mm-hmm. But instead, like I said, it adds to this loss, the sense of loss and confusion that James has been feeling this whole time.
Yeah.
And so the reveal that like, oh, and then he killed her. It's like, oh, it's less of a aha. The plot, I called it. I knew this was going to happen. Is like, oh, well, I'm glad that he figured it out.
Sure.
Because we were getting there.
I mean, especially because the movie doesn't build to a bombastic ending necessarily. Like there's no like, final boss fights or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like, it's just like a groan. Like this is the emotional ending here.
And I really liked how we kind of has this final realization on the roof of the hotel, which is on fire. Cause he escapes from the hospital that he wakes up in. And he like basically chooses to go back into the Silent Hill world, which they brought back bugs with little faces on them, which I liked.
Love that.
Those things are creepy. Yep. And when they're all like crowding the door, even though they're CG, like they're super obviously CG, it was still extremely creepy and just this wave of gross bugs licking the glass. Loved it.
And then the faces made me laugh, on top of that.
Yeah, well, particularly the first one when he kills it, it's like bleh, with the tongue coming out like a cartoon that just got knocked out.
Yes.
But anyway, James is on the roof of this hotel and there's Mary's bed. And it just starts floating away in this obviously practical effect.
Yes.
Like it's clearly not like a CG, like he went back to his own planet thing. Like it's clearly like they're just levitating it up, which gives it a stagey fake feel to it.
Uncanny.
That works uncanny. It works in the whole thing of this, but it's also like him trying to let her go. And then it becomes the sheets kind of become the wings and of the butterfly Mary, the rebirth Mary, as you kind of mentioned.
Yeah.
Which again with the sheets and the abuse, there's a thing where he runs into Angela earlier, and the sheets are hands on her thighs. That was so creepy.
I like that. Yeah. Forgot about that. Yeah.
But that just again that letting go, like that's what it's about. That realization. It's not that. Aha, he killed her. It's understanding that this person is gone and just letting that memory go. Because I think what follows is a little bit more of like one of the bad endings of the game. Yeah.
I remember thinking, because there's a long like underwater shot with the letter and that kind of thing, because that's the ending that I got just a week ago. And I think well, it does do that, but then it does the weird loop.
Right. So he decides to puts Mary in his Mustang and drives off up here into Toluca Lake, which is what they've been looking at. Like he's like holding her hand as they're under the water. Her dead body's there and he's clutching the hand. And then it flash forward. Oh, he just almost got hit by the truck again.
Yep.
It hits the suitcases. But this time the interaction goes a little bit differently. It's a little bit friendlier, but they agree to leave together.
Yeah.
And it feels less like, oh, this was all a flashback and now he can make it right. Like this was this premonition he had.
Sure.
As much as it is like, maybe this is his afterlife. He emotionally like let it go. He's like, I did these choices, I made these choices, whatever. I want to be with this person that's gone. In his restless dreams. He dreams of that town. He thinks of that place and he's there with her.
Yeah. He's got her and they sort of drive off into the, not quite the sunset, but they leave that little area. And I guess do we think that he's now just going to like replay the whole thing in his head? Or is it because there's a different tone?
Yeah, I think it's going to replay in his head. He's going to do good this time.
Right.
Wherever this is, that he's like, I'm going to go back and make it right. Because I can't. True. Yeah. I couldn't do it now, but in my afterlife or in my death visions that I will have done this correctly and I will have saved her.
One thing that we did go past a little quickly was this time, when we do see Pyramid Head about halfway through, the camera runs inside of his big Pyramid Head hat, and we see an eyeball that I guess is supposed to be James.
Yes.
Like, that's the only thing that I kind of took away from it, because I incorrectly thought that maybe that was somebody else that we see a painting of earlier on that was going to be like a guardian of Mary or something. And I was like, Pyramid Head origin story incoming. I don't want that. But I took it to be like, I guess they're trying to imply that it's James inside.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been my contention with Pyramid Head being in the other movies, is that like this is a whether or not that's specifically James, it is a representation of James,
right?
In some fashion, like these negative murderous feelings, because so much of as we said of this sort of otherworld of Silent Hill is sort of psychologically constructed. So when he sees the paintings of the Pyramid Heads at the prison, the history center, it's like, well, is that what's actually on those images, or is that what he's seeing?
Yeah.
And they're just labeled the executioner, which was what he himself was.
Right.
Could have gone without them putting a hat on a pyramid hat. Yeah. A pyramid hat on a pyramid hat. But it's fine. Like I'd rather they do that than be like, now he's running the Tilt-A-Whirl.
Sure. My gosh. Yeah, you're right.
It is like being disjointed by design, as disjointed as it is the most coherent one of these movies.
Yeah. And again, even though like I got a little bit tired of the flashbacks, especially because I wanted to start building tension within Silent Hill.
Yeah.
And when they would start building tension, we'd flash back to a bright early memory, which I got a little tired of that for sure. And maybe that's their version of exposition dumps. Instead of just somebody talking at you for a whole bunch, you just have kind of interminable flashbacks. I wish I think it would have been better if it was just in linear order.
Mm-hmm. But I also think that the flashbacks work well in the sense that because the acting and the writing is what it is.
Yeah.
I think it services this sort of weird, like, memories not being as vivid as you're like the truth of what they were. Like these are all kind of constructed in his head with reconstructions of things.
Yeah.
So it's still a little off. But again, I'm also cutting it slack in that department because the game has terrible dialogue, or particularly the original. I don't want to turn on the people at Bloober or whatever that read that one. Because it's a Japanese aesthetic brought over to, David Lynch, Cronenberg, and all these things taken to Japan, sort of retranslated through, Japanese stuff and then brought back over.
Yeah.
So it's a weird aesthetic to kind of try to capture.
Mm-hmm.
And so that sort of disjointed, unreal dialogue, I'm okay with. But I think it also serves a purpose in that way, whether it's intentional or not, that it still worked for me.
Right.
But I do think that those sort of degrading memories also kind of help with his degrading psyche.
That's true. Yeah.
Again, by design. Yeah, by design or not, I couldn't tell you. Given Christoph Gahn's other work, I don't know, but it works here. I think it's not to me, it's not a scary movie. Like, and this is a thing with a lot of the series, it hasn't necessarily been scary, but I don't fault it for that because I wasn't grossed enough in what they were doing. And it didn't seem like, because it wasn't so like plot heavy.
Sure.
It didn't irritate me as much. I was willing to just kind of vibe out with it. I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's honor our dead and come back with any final thoughts. The homeless man, played by Matteo Pasquini, burned by lying figure acid spray. Maria Crane, played by Hannah Emily Anderson, impaled by pyramid head. Angela, played by Eve Macklin, dragged into mattress, merges with monster. Mary Crane, played by Hannah Emily Anderson, suffocated by James. Is This May Hurt a Bit the only show on the internet that seemed to enjoy this movie? Could be. Hey,
maybe. I don't know.
That's possible. But I mean, I had a much better time with this than I thought I would.
I'll watch it again. I'll totally check it out.
Yeah, when it comes to home video, I'm sure I'll get in a Silent Hill mood and just kind of want to watch it in my own place and, be more careful with it. Like I might do when we normally review movies here, like watch it once or twice and like kind of pick things out a little bit more closely. But this is all just like having seen it in the theater and not too bad.
But I mean, I'd like to pour over this some more for sure. Because there's a lot there visually. Like I said, it's a very interesting movie. It's one of those, it's like, if you don't like it, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. And it's not without its flaws, but it did it for me. It worked real well. This is really what I've been looking for a Silent Hill movie.
Sure.
Is less of you explaining things constantly to me.
Yeah.
Just let me enjoy the weirdness of it. And just the cult machinations don't matter in that, other than that they're cult machinations.
Yeah.
I don't need all the little information. I still don't know much about her dad, about the creator of the cult. And I don't know, like, what is he giving her that's making her do this? Why are they doing that? It doesn't, the fact that they did it is what mattered.
Right.
Like that's terrifying.
And how James takes that in and like the results, how that affects the relationship, obviously.
Yeah, it's a much more sort of personal story than just plot beats.
So, I'd be curious to know what our listeners thought of it. Did you make it out to the cinema to see this? Is this a wait till it's out on video type of thing? Maybe this encourages you to go check it out, even though we completely spoiled it all. But next week we'll get back to our Silent Hill wrap up, and then it's time for a new franchise, everybody. This year, I don't know why we're doing this, But we're going to put our fate in your hands, dear listeners.
I don't know why we're doing this. We don't trust you.
Yeah, not at all.
every moment is spent despising you, the listener.
Right. We're going to pick 4 or so options. Obviously, we'll have some control over this. And then we're going to throw up a poll on Instagram. And we're going to let everybody weigh in on which franchise we should cover next. And I think we're going to go for one of the beefier ones. We're considering the Chuckies. We're considering the Halloweens. What's that crappy one with Patrick Wilson in it? And
the
Conjuring ones. Yeah. Maybe.
That's a whole verse, because you got Conjuring, then you got the nuns, you got the
Abigails. Scream. That's there's a new Scream this year, so maybe that one would be fun. But we're gonna put it in your hands, listeners. So if you follow us on Instagram at This May Hurt a Bit Pod, you'll be able to weigh in. And I promise to not skew the results. We'll stick with this, even if it means that for the next 8 months we're stuck in Haddonfield, but that's what we signed up for. So, if you liked us talking about video game movies here on the main feed on the Patreon this month, we discussed Alone in the Dark and Alone in the Dark Part 2, the Uwe Boll movies. So if you want to hear some Hurt, go over there. Pony up a couple bucks to hear us talk about that too. And that'll make sure that we get to go see these new releases in the theater.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was just laughing about the idea of, and I still think maybe you should do this, is have a bunch of choices and then have one of them be like Hellraiser again.
No. We opened the box and that's what we got.
We got to rewatch it again.
Right.
What's changed in a year from watching them last time?
Oof. Now this time we like all the late period ones.
It turns out.
Hey, it usually takes the internet, 15 years to do the reappraisal. We'll do a 1-year reappraisal of these. Yeah. Actually.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, stay tuned for that. Follow us on Instagram so you can weigh in. If you want to email me some suggestions, we've got pretty much our 4 or 5 that we might go for. But in case there's one that we haven't thought of, you can email us at thismayhurtabit@gmail.com and we'll check those out too. So next week's the wrap up, and then a new franchise after that. And until then, good night.
Good night.
This has been a Caretaker Press production. It was produced by James Strayer and edited by John C. Myers. Logo by Ethan Kimberling and music by Michael Arthur Holloway, who you can find on Bandcamp. Follow us on Instagram at This May Hurt a Bit Pod and email us at thismayhurtabitpod@gmail.com. Give us a 5-star review over on your favorite podcast app, and we'll see you next time.